I got my drone fix, so I'm gonna hopefully get some nice photography. I'm upset I didn't send it back sooner because I missed the seals. The seals were giving birth on the beach last week.
Cool.
And all the coyotes were around eating all the afterbirth and everything. And I know, eh? But
nature's wonderful.
I think so. I think it's just but I didn't realize we'd have seals in our backyard till after we bought the place. I was watching a documentary about the Northumberland Strait and David Suzuki. Do you know David Suzuki? He's our famous Japanese Canadian environmentalist. He's
doesn't ring a bell.
He's the guy that made environmentalism cool for kids back in like the 80s and 90s, because he was a personality on a government-run TV station, and he was a very kind-spoken, lovely man who always talked about the environment, and not one of those like bleeding heart, like you've ruined everything, you disgusting pig. He approaches everything with love,
Yeah.
And he was talking about how when the waters in Antigonish freeze, you'll have seals. And I thought, the water's not going to freeze. I've never seen, like, the ocean doesn't freeze down here, because you see like glaciers up by like Greenland and stuff, but yeah, like we have the ocean's frozen right now. Well, it's breaking up. It started breaking up the other day, but I got this really cool picture the other day. I should send it to you of the sunset, because we have we look west over the ocean, so we get the sunset every night. And the sun was setting, and there was like a broken piece in the ice. It looked like a river through it, and it was glowing like fire red, the river through the ice, because the sun was just reflecting on it at the right angle,
Wow.
But I was kicking myself because I love taking sunset photos with a drone, because I can go 100 meters in the sky and get any angle I want and pick up the light reflection depending on where the sun is in the sky, and that would have been a beautiful, especially if I could have followed along that river with my drone, like the hot fire red river in the ocean.
Wow.
That'd have been like and I'm a little upset too, because the drone failure wasn't my fault. It just malfunctioned while I was using it, and the drone manufacturer is blaming me 100%. They're like, no, you broke it, and they're basing it off GPS data. They're saying it crashed in the ocean, and I was on the beach flying it when it malfunctioned. So it crashed on the beach, didn't land in the water, which really upsets me, because like they have little devices, like little pieces of paper that turn color when they get wet. It never turned color, so the device was never submerged, and they know that, but they're saying the GPS data tells them it fell in the ocean. And I'm trying to explain to them that there's a tide there. Like the ocean comes in and out by 50 yards, right? So that time of day, it wasn't ocean, it was beach, and but they don't care. They're saying, well, you fucked it up. But thankfully, I bought the protection plan where if you destroy your drone or lose it, you can pay like a fee to get a new drone replaced if it's your fault. So it cost me $65 for them to ship me a new drone. So not the end of the world, but yeah, I don't know. Like I bought this drone right after Mackenzie was born, because I got gifted some money when she was born, and I had a bunch of money. Like, do you guys have Costco's in the UK, or is that a North America thing?
No, we do. Yes, a sort of
what
we call a cash and carry.
Okay, yeah, all right. So Costco always has good deals, stuff like that, and I use my credit cards, a Costco credit card. So every time I buy gas, I buy groceries, I get points for Costco. So at the end of the year, I get like $1,000 to go blow at Costco for no reason.
Wow.
Right. So I got a gift when Mackenzie was born. Plus, I had this cash, so I got basically a free drone. I went and bought this nice high definition 4K, DJI Mini 3 Pro drone.
Is the camera built into the drone?
Yeah, it's a gimbal camera, 4K.
Right.
So I can.
Brilliant.
Yeah, and it's got filters for it too, for different lights. But yeah, so about 4 or 5 months ago, I was flying around with Zappa down by the ocean there, and I was taking these great pictures of Zappa swimming. Like what I'll do is I'll fly the drone out above the ocean, and I'll throw a stick over the ocean, and I'll try and I'll focus in on where the stick is, and I'll film Zappa swimming up and grabbing the stick and swimming back to the water and cool shit like that. And and I was doing that, and then while it was above the water, the drone started like going back and forth, and the gimbal started moving around funny. And I was like, uh-oh. So I started flying back towards me, and I was about 10 feet away from where I was standing, and just fell out of the sky. And then so I brought it home, put a new battery in it, and I plugged it in. It had 2 fault codes. It told me one of the sensors wasn't acting properly, so it was detecting objects that weren't there. That's why it was acting erratic. It's got avoidance it's got sensors to avoid, so I hopefully don't run into trees and buildings and stuff.
Right.
And and then one of the motors got sand in it when it landed at the beach, right? So it fucked up the stator inside the motor. So the one motor overheated when it hit the sand, and then the sensor went out. And they're telling me it's because it crashed in the ocean. That's why all these problems happened.
Yeah.
So it pissed me off because I shouldn't have had to pay for the replacement. It should have been a repair, like a warranty, and then they ship it back. But whatever. I'm just glad I bought the warranty, because if I didn't, I would have had to pay they wanted $300 to fix it or something stupid, and I was like, $300 to fix a little toy. But I have as soon as I bought the drone, I started making music videos with it. I started doing all sorts of cool stuff, and I have all these, like I said, like I told you, I want to make a video with my Neutron, because I made a song that's all Behringer Neutron. So I want to take the Neutron and put it in cool places, like put it on a rock on the beach, and have the drone fly in from like a kilometer away as it just like directly at it before as you slowly get closer and closer to it, And then I want to do things like cover it in seaweed and make it look like I found it on the beach, Because I think that would be, if I put a video up that says like Death by Design, Behringer Neutron only instrument, I would get all sorts of Behringer synth fans watching my video who have no idea who I am, just based off of that. I think.
Yeah, probably would.
Because,
yeah.
And it's a concept too, because a lot of people have a hard time imagining that. Like, when you say to them, like, I made this whole song with a single monophonic synthesizer, they're going like, oh, it's gonna sound terrible. And then they listen to it, they're like, oh, there's drums. Like, there's a hi-hat and a bass drum, and there's like, it's all there. It's just one synth, So I think it's kind of neat when you can surprise somebody with how much you can do with one thing.
Yeah.
Which, it doesn't surprise you or me, because I'm sure you've done it. Like, I've done all sorts of sonic experiments, but like I got songs that are all mouth noises, or songs that are all. I made a whole song out of the sounds of me tapping saw blades in the workshop, because they just sound like cymbals that ring way too long,
Yeah.
And like I was watching. I think it was Andrew Huan that inspired me at one time, because he did a video one time where he was stacking VSTs. It's like, what happens if I put 1,000 reverbs on one track, And I was like, that sounds amazing. And I love, not 1,000 is too much, but I like to take, now I do this thing where I'll take like a piano and throw like 3 reverbs on it and set them all to 100%, like everything. And I'll hit a piano key, and then 10 seconds later you hear it. And it's just like a shimmering, like, ooh, like it sounds nothing like a piano. It sounds like some sort of like angel from space. Yeah. And,
that's how, what are they called? These, there's one I've got called Love, which does that. It's an Abyss has that sort of built into it as well, that synth. It's a shimmer effect. Is essentially they combine pitch with reverb and echo, so that the pitch of the echoes is different from the source. But it's that sort of effect where it's only nominally related to the source. Yeah, so I know exactly what you're talking about. That modular synth that I was talking about before, Karma Effects, it's great for stuff like that, because if you can imagine it, you can build it, And I had on the album, I had there's a track where you hear the synth go from the root note to the fifth, and then another synth go from the root note to the fifth, and then another one from the root to the fifth, and that was all done in Karma. And the reason I bought Karma was I wanted to do that, and it was the only way I could figure out how to do it. And what you do is, it was delays. It was just, I was originally aiming for 5, but Karma fell over when I asked it to do 5 delays. It just, no, I'm not doing that. That's way too much. So I had to do it with just 3, and I thought, well, that's fine, because harmonically it was getting very difficult with 5. It was like, how exactly am I going to work this out so it makes sense? So 3 was perfect, actually. But that's how I did that. It was a long delay. But yes, if you added reverb in there as well, you would get that sort of weird. It doesn't sound related to the original at all. It sounds like something completely different.
Yeah. That's funny. I think I know the part you're talking about, because I remember when I heard that in your album, I was like, it reminded me of that conversation we had about Kraftwerk, where there was a song where they do something similar like that.
That's what inspired it, yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, I heard it, I was like, there it is, and it sounded brilliant. It was actually one of my favorite parts of your new record.
Yeah, because later on when I thought, well, wonder what happens if I just start, rather than just stick to single notes, which was the original intention. What happens when I play chords? Well, it got really, really thick and really mental, and I thought, well, yeah, I like that. That's good.
Nice. That's awesome.